So, Act 2 begins with Polonius giving instructions to his servant Reynaldo to go and spy on Laertes when he is back in France. If you remember now, Laertes is Polonius' son and Ophelia's brother. So, do you remember another occasion from Act 1 when Polonius was an interfering parent? So, here we are getting a picture of Polonius, that he is very meddling, he's very interfering, and he's a very controlling parent with his two children. Ophelia then bursts into the room in a terrible state, saying that Hamlet appeared before her while she was sewing in her bedroom. His jacket was undone, there was no hat on his head, his socks were dirty and around his ankle. He was pale and his knees were knocking together. His face was pale and he had a look on his face as though he had been on a visit to hell. So now we remember exactly where Hamlet had just been. He had just seen the ghost of his father. And also you need to remember that Hamlet has now assumed an anti position. So then he took her by the wrist and started touching her face. He gave deep sighs. He seemed to find his way out of the room without using his eyes. So please be very aware of the antic disposition and what it was. Go back to the slides on Act 1 if you've forgotten what it was. So his antic disposition is where Hamlet pretends to be mad. And why? Do you remember why he did this? Polonius is convinced that this is the ecstasy of love. Hamlet is losing his mind due to being madly in love with Ophelia. He asks Ophelia whether they had a fight lately. Ophelia replies no. She has returned all of Hamlet's letters and not allowed him to see her as instructed by her father. So now we're also getting a picture of Ophelia as an obedient daughter. Her father has told her that she may not see Hamlet. He is a prince out of thy star, and she is obeying. And Polonius is convinced that this has made him mad. Enter two snitches, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. These are Hamlet's childhood friends. I put friends in inverted commas because are they really friends? Claudius has invited them to the palace to find out the reason behind Hamlet's madness. And he says something you have heard of Hamlet's transformation. So I've used the word snitches, but try to think of what is a more formal English. You're not going to use that word in any of your Hamlet essays or questions. So find a more formal English word to use. Claudius tells them that it is surely the death of his father that has made him behave in such a bizarre way. What is Claudius not revealing? Okay, he's saying that the madness is the death of Hamlet because of the death of Hamlet's father. But what is Claudius not telling us? That's really important. So keep remembering the antic disposition of Hamlet, and also bear in mind this all relates to the theme of appearance versus reality. Gertrude says that Hamlet has been talking a lot about Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Good gentlemen, he hath much talked of you. Is this true? And which theme appears here? She also implies that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern will be paid for spying Hamlet. Your visitation shall receive such thanks as fits a king's remembrance. Polonius enters. He boastfully claims that he knows the reason behind Hamlet's lunacy. Lunacy is another word for madness. What do we know about Polonius and what he thinks? Okay, bear in mind Polonius's character traits. Some messengers enter. They bring news that they took letters from Claudius to the new king of Norway, informing him that his nephew is causing trouble. Do you remember the name of this nephew? Trying to take his father's land back from Denmark. Okay, so remember that subplot that was introduced in Act 1. The uncle told Fortinbras to stop what he's doing, and Fortinbras obeys. He gets 3,000 crowns in return. That's lots of money in those days, and permission to attack Poland instead, and asked Claudius for permission to march across Denmark to get to Poland. So that subplot is quite important.